Hey guys, it's Reina. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I make Disney and lifestyle type of content. Before I get started, I want to mention that I'm filming this at 5 p.m. trying to beat the fact that the sun's gonna be going down soon, but this was like the only time before the new year that I could film this video, so I'm gonna try to make it quick. But today's video is going to be a 24 books that I want to read in 2024. I recently got into reading, or maybe I should say get back into reading, because I used to read, not like a lot, but a decent amount in high school and a little bit after. But ever since Booktok and all these books have basically blown up, I've obviously jumped on the bandwagon and decided to start reading again. So yeah, I wanted to share my 2024 TBR with you guys. So I want to say I started my reading journey in late 2021, and I read only, I want to say 4 books in 2022. So 2023 was where I really grew my love for reading, and I read it a lot more. And I think I ended up reading 14 books in total this year, which with someone who has a full-time job, loves to go to the parks, loves to go hang out, go out to eat, go shopping, all this stuff, basically just life in general, I think 14 is a pretty good number, especially for just getting back into reading. I definitely can't compare to all the other like book girlies that have like 100 read by now, but I don't really compare myself to them. I try not to, at least, but I try to set realistic goals. So I would love to be someone who reads that much, but it's just not realistic for someone like me. So my original goal for 2024 was 20 books, since I was able to do 14 this past year. But I've been seeing a trend on TikTok and YouTube of people doing 24 books they want to read in 2024. So I just said, why not? It's 4 more books. I'm sure I can meet that goal. So I decided to do 24 books, and I think it'll be good. I was debating on if I wanted to film the books that I read this past year as a separate video and like give my opinions and ratings on them, but I'm not sure if I'll do that, just because it's the 30th today, and I mean, I could honestly do it whenever, but I feel like I have to start fresh. But if you guys want that, let me know. I can also film that video, but for now, I'm just gonna stick with my 2024 TBR. Just to let you guys know, a lot of these books are series and books that are very popular from TikTok and YouTube. So you're probably gonna recognize a lot of these, but I just haven't read them yet. So I'm gonna go ahead and include them here. So I only have 5 physical books at the moment because, one, I don't really have the money to spend on a whole bunch of books in one sitting. So I don't have all of the books on my TBR. And 2, I tend to rush myself if I have too many books. Like if I'm looking at too many books, I feel like I have to read them soon. So I try to keep my physical TBR to a minimum. I mean, I like how books look on a shelf and my TBR cart, but again, I just don't feel the need to like buy them all at the same time, especially with someone who doesn't have that kind of money. But yeah, I'll just show you guys like the physical ones that I have, and then I'll do probably a screenshot of the other ones. This is gonna be in no particular order, but I am gonna start with the physical books that I have. So the first book on my 2024 TBR is going to be, of course, Iron Flame. I did read Fourth Wing in November and absolutely loved it. It was my first fantasy book that I read, and I haven't read Iron Flame yet, but I knew it was coming out in November. I didn't buy it when it released. I wish I did, because I wanted the black pages, but I just had the regular one. I'm actually a little skeptical to read this because most of the ratings and opinions I've read or seen about Iron Flame have been negative, and people say they haven't, you know, finished it, or they didn't like it. It wasn't as good as the first one. But I'm gonna at least give it a chance, and I don't know, maybe I'll have a different opinion, but I still had to get it, so that's gonna be on my list. The next 5 books are a series, and you can probably guess which one it is. ACOTAR, A Court of Thorns and Roses. This is by Sarah J. Maas. This is probably one of the most popular series out there right now, and I have not read it yet, but I'm super excited to, honestly. This might be the first book that I read in 2024. So I have the first book, and then I also have A Court of Mist and Fury, which is the second book, and I've also heard that this is a lot of people's favorite out of the whole entire series. But yeah, I only have the first 2 at the moment, but I do plan on getting the other 3. So if you want to see what those look like, I can pop them up on the screen really quickly. But yeah, I want to read the whole entire series next year. So yeah, super excited. So the next 5 books again, which will put me at 11, I think, is also another series. This is also a pretty popular series. I'm probably gonna say that all of these books are popular, which they are, but yeah, this series is one that I decided to read kind of last minute, but I've seen, you know, things being said about them for a little while. I just didn't know if I wanted to read them yet, but I decided that I did want to read them, and it is the Chestnut Springs series by Elsie Silver. So I have these covers, and I also only have the first 2 books again of this series, but obviously I'll get the rest. But this is the first book, and it's flawless. So I do know that these are like a cowboy romance series, so that'll be fun. I haven't read any cowboy romances yet, but this is the first book. And then I also have Heartless, which I also hear is a lot of people's favorite as well. I guess the second book in series has been a favorite for a lot of people. I'm seeing the trend. But yeah, so I have Heartless, and then obviously Powerless, Reckless, and Hopeless are the other 3 that I don't have but are also on my TBR list. Okay, moving on to the rest of the books that I want to read but I don't have with me at the moment. The first one is, I guess, not first one, number 12, is going to be The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I am gonna say that I don't really know anything about this book. I know it's in the fantasy realm, but I've seen it everywhere, so that's why I added it to my list. But I'm trying to get more into fantasy, so I chose that book just to switch it up and try a different author. So that is number 12. Number 13 is going to be Never Lie by Frida McFadden. I actually just finished my first Frida McFadden book as my last book of 2023, and that was The Housemaid. I thought it was really good. It was my first like thriller type book. Well, unless you count Verity, but yeah, anyway, so it was like my first or second thriller book that I read, and I really enjoyed it. So I decided to pick up a different book by Frida McFadden, and I read a little bit about it. I guess it's about a newlywed couple that's searching for a new house, and they come across this house that belonged to a psychiatrist who disappeared randomly, and there's a storm that comes through and the couple is stuck there. So the woman wanted to find a book to read to pass the time, but she comes across like the secret room that has the psychiatrist's like audio tapes of all the patients that she's ever interviewed, and she basically finds stuff out about these patients, and then it kind of connects the dots to why the psychiatrist disappeared. I don't know where I left off because my battery died. But yeah, basically Never Lie is a very popular thriller book, so I am excited to read that one. Am I at number 14? I think so. Number 14 is going to be Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. This is another fantasy book, and I believe it just came out in 2023 actually, but of course I've been seeing it everywhere as well. I I'm not entirely sure what it's about, but I obviously want to read it, so I am excited to read it. And also the second book just released, I think, last week, something like that. Super recent, so that'll be fun to pick up later as well. Number 15 is going to be Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. I haven't read any Ali Hazelwood books yet. I feel like I should read one of the other ones before I read Check and Mate, but I just figured the cover was cute and it just came out as well, so I figured I would read that in 2024, but now I'm not so sure because I've heard a couple of bad things about it. I mean, nothing too crazy, but it's a YA book, so I'm not sure. We'll see. If I don't read that one, then I'll probably read The Love Hypothesis or Love Theoretically. I know those are all like in the same group, so we'll see. But either way, I probably will read a book by Ali Hazelwood. Number 15, did I just say 15? Number 16 is going to be Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This is her debut book. I've seen it literally everywhere, of course, and I've heard that it's similar to The Hunger Games, so I'm super excited to read it actually because I loved The Hunger Games back when it came out. I read all the books. I obviously have seen all the movies a couple of times. So I'm super excited to see what the book is about and how it relates to The Hunger Games. And I do know that the second book in the series comes out in July, I think. So depending on like where I'm at with my TBR, I might try to read that as well. I want to stay on track with the books that I've already put on my list, but I obviously get excited about new releases. So we'll just have to see. Next book is another thriller slash mystery, and that is The Only One Left by Riley Sager. I've heard so many good things about this book as well. Like I said, I do want to try to get more into thrillers and mysteries. So I've heard this author is really known for that. So I wanted to add that to my list for this coming year. And yeah, I guess I can continue that genre since I have one more in that genre, which is going to be The Silent Patient. I think this book has been out for a while and I honestly wanted to read it this past year, but I just didn't get around to it. So I'm going to do my best to include it in this year's goal. But yeah, another really good thriller mystery book that I'm excited to read. What am I at, like 18, 19? I don't remember, but anyways, the next book is part of a series again, so it'll be the next 4 books, which is the Twisted series by Anna Huang, another popular series I know, and everyone has read it except for me. So I'm gonna try my best to get into it this coming year as well. I don't really know what it's about either, but I know people like it. Some people hate it, but I'll just have to see for myself. So that is going to be the next 4 books, which is Twisted Love, Twisted Hate, or Twisted Games. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I forget the order, but I think it's Twisted Love, Twisted Games, Twisted Hate, and Twisted... All right, the correct order is Twisted Love, Twisted Games, Twisted Hate, and Twisted Lies. I need to hurry up because I'm losing daylight and my battery's flashing again. The next book is going to be Abby Jimenez's book, Yours Truly. I've seen a lot of things about this book as well, but I've never read a book by her yet. I know she's also a really good author from what I've seen, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and try Yours Truly. Next up is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. This is a very popular hockey romance, which I've never read any hockey romances yet, so I'm interested to see if I will like it. I was going back and forth with this. I got cut off again because my battery died again. That's what I get for trying to film my video and forgot to charge my battery yesterday. So we're gonna try to finish this video before it dies again. And I've resorted to turning on the light, so hopefully that doesn't ruin the lighting in the video, but yeah, it's officially getting dark, so. I think I was talking about Icebreaker when it cut off, but yeah, that's the next book, so. The next book is going to be Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score, another very popular book, and I really love the cover on this book, so that's probably why I want to read it. But I've heard some people don't like it, but others love it. So again, it's just going to be one of those situations where I'll have to read it for myself and determine if I like it or not. And I do believe there's 2 other books following, but I think I just want to start with the first one for now and see if I like it or not. So I'm going to be reading that in 2024 as well. I think we're on the last book of my TBR, which is going to be King of Wrath, also by Anna Huang. This is also a series, but I don't remember how many books are out at the moment. I think there's 3 books out right now. Not entirely sure, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I do want to start this book as well. Again, like I said, I want to start a lot of series, but we'll see how I feel after the first book. I'm not sure if I'll like this one, but it is also a pretty popular series on Booktok, so I think I'm gonna give it a try. I lied, I think there's like 6 books in the series, but I only know like the first 3 or 4 maybe. Okay guys, that is going to be it for this video. Those are my 24 books that I want to read in 2024. I would love to know if you guys have read these books, and if you did, let me know your opinions on them and ratings. I would love to hear about them and discuss opinions and ratings as well after I've read them. And also, I want to know what you guys have on your 2024 TBR. That would be fun to know as well. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and go, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.